Hi, Preschool Manager has launched a new module called e-learning, which we strongly believe will help mitigate the effects of the current coronavirus pandemic on the educational system. In this video, we are going to see how this module can help the class teacher prepare his or her lessons and make them available for students to access from the safe confinement of their homes. We're also going to see how a student will be able to access these lessons. Without further ado, I'll jump right into showing you how this works. I'm currently logged in as a class teacher, so over the course of this video, I'll be toggling between the class teacher dashboard and the student dashboard. Back to the class teacher dashboard. By the left side of your screen, expand the e-learning menu to reveal the lesson sub-menu. Click on it. It brings us to this page. So this is the page where you create lessons for this class, which is grade R, which happens to be Mr. James' class. So the very first thing you are to do when creating a new lesson is to create lesson topics for your subject, for the subject that you want to create a lesson for. So to do that, you would click on this box. So if we wanted to create a lesson for English language, we will select English language, and it will bring us to this page. At the moment, you see it says topics English language 0. This value is actually the number of lesson topics that have been created against English language. At the moment, there is none. That's why you can see no record here. So what we are going to do is to add a new record to English language, as to create a new lesson topic against English language. To do that, we'll click on this button that says add, and then it brings us to this page. Here we need to supply the title of the topic, specify the order, which is actually which is used to determine the order in which the lessons will appear when they are being displayed to the students, and then we'll supply any additional notes that may be necessary, something like an introduction to the topic, what the student is expected to know by the end of the topic, anything like that. Then this field here, we check whether we want to make the lesson available online, that is, whether we want students to be able to access it from their dashboard or not. So to do that, I will type in a lesson topic. To save time, I've written out some things which I'm going to just copy and paste. So I'll call this use of grammar, for instance. Use of grammar. The order, since it's the first lesson topic we are creating, so the order should stay as 1. And we're going to copy a little note here, how to read, write, and speak English appropriately. Okay, so we want to make it available online for students to access, so we'll check this box, yes. You have these two buttons here to save what you just entered. We have save and add another one, which when clicked on will save the current lesson topic and clear these fields for you to enter a new lesson topic. And of course, you have the second one, which is save and view, which will actually save this and then take you to the view page. So for now, we are going to make use of this second button, save and view. So it says topic added successfully, and it takes us to this page where we will see the lesson topic that we just created. You can see the title is at the top here, use of grammar, and a little note on it, how to read, write, and speak English appropriately. And you can see some notes about the lesson topic here. The order is 1, online, date created, total number of lessons created under it, 0 at the moment. So at the top here, you see some buttons that will help you with navigation. So we have list, which will take you to the place where you see the list of lesson topics. We have add to add a new one. We have edit to edit this particular lesson, to delete, and of course this button will take you to the place where you manage lessons under this lesson topic. And of course, this last one helps you refresh the page. Over the course of this video, you'll be seeing similar buttons like this across different parts of this module. So at the moment, if you wanted to edit this lesson I just created, We would click on this button. It brings us here. You can see the lesson here. Let's say, for instance, I want to say we don't want wants the use of grammar in English. Want to update it to this. We've just done that, so we click update, and of course it says our changes, and you can see the changes reflected here. So I'm going to go back to list for us to see the lesson we just created. So this is how you create your lesson topics. This small button here that has an eye inside it is for you to view the lesson. This one is to edit, and this one is to delete. I'm not going to delete the lesson just created now. And here we have this blue button, which is actually to help you manage lessons under this lesson topic. So to do that, you click on this button, and here you can now create lessons under that topic. But at the moment, to save time, I'm going to have to switch to a different subject, Bible knowledge, which already has some lesson topics and lessons under it. So as you can see here, these are the lesson topics that have been created under Bible knowledge, 3 of them. We have the Promised Land, the Prophets of God, and of course Acts of the Apostles. So here you see the number of lessons that have been created under each of these topics. For Promised Land, we have 3 lessons. For the other 2, we don't have any at the moment. So I'm going to be adding a new lesson under the Promised Land for us to have 4 lessons. So to do that, I will click on Manage Lessons. It brings me to this page. You can see here, these are the 3 lessons that have been created under the Promised Land lesson topic. So I'm going to be adding a new lesson under this topic. So to do that, I will click on Add. I just added it. I've just on this page I can specify the title of the lesson, which I'm going to say is this. Specify the order. We already have 3 lessons, so I can say this is 4, but it is not really important at this point, though you have to supply it. But the system is designed in such a way that you can reorder your lessons the way you want. So for instance, if you've forgotten the last order that you specified, you can always put anything here, and when you go back to the list page, you'll be able to reorder your lessons to your heart's content. So I would say is 4. Type, this field specifies helps you select the type of lesson that you want to create. Is it text lesson, text based? Is it a video I want to display? In which case you will need to supply a video URL here. At the moment we support YouTube videos, so if you have created if you prepared your lesson, upload it to your YouTube channel, copy the video YouTube video URL, paste it here. We also have PDF documents as well as image, which requires you to upload a PDF file or an image file against this lesson. Here you would specify, okay, going back, I want to just create a text-based lesson. So it's asking me for main content. So the main content, I'm just going to copy some things from here, and I'll paste it here. And it's asking me for objectives. I'll go back, copy some things I want to create as objective, paste it here. At the end of this lesson, people should be able to do blah 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 blah. So I can format it the way I want, picking on this guy. So some notes about this lesson. This is where you need to specify things like what additional resources the student should consult, whether there are any quiz attached, whether there's any quiz attached to the lesson, basically any additional thing that you want the student to know. So I'm just going to copy something from here. I'll paste it here. Check the link for more information. Do the quiz, attach this lesson, blah, blah, blah. So do I want to make this lesson available? Yes, I do want to make it available so that my students will be able to access it from the dashboard. Now, open date. When do I want this lesson to become available to students? Yes, I've said I want the lesson to be available to students, but when do I want it to be available? Okay, so you could, which means this means that you can create a lesson now, and the students will not be able to access it until the time that you specified. So I'm just going to say that the lesson should be available from today, which is 25th of April. So close date, when do you want the lesson to become inaccessible to the students? I want it to remain open indefinitely. So you check this box. So that close date field disappears. So like we saw in lesson topics, you can save and add another lesson or save and view. So I'm just going to hit this second button, and we have created a lesson. So you can see the lesson we just created here. And this is the lesson title. This is the main content of the lesson, which is text-based. This is some objectives of the lesson, and this is an additional note to the lesson. Alright, so let's go back to list and see how our lesson is looking. So these are the lessons we've created. So we see water from the rock, the children of Israel sin against God, the father of Jericho, God saves manna from heaven. And let's say, for instance, we see here that the order for these lessons are not properly ordered. We see we have 1, 3, 4, 4. So what we are going to do is to reorder these lessons so that they will appear according to how we want them. So to do that, I'll click on this button that says reorder, and it brings me to this page. Let's say, for instance, I want God sends manna from heaven to be the first lesson. I'll just drag this guy here, and I want the children of Israel sin against God to follow it. I will bring this guy here, and then I will click update, and on this page we'll see that our lessons have been properly reordered, have been properly sorted out. So we see as proper values now 1, 2, 3. So this is how these lessons will appear to the students. Alright, so now that we have created these lessons, how is a student who is a member of this class, grade R, going to access this lesson from their own dashboard? So to do that, I'm going to navigate to the student dashboard now. As you can see, this is a student who is in grade R, my class grade R, Amale Jessica. So to see the lessons that have been created for my class, what I would do is to look at the left side of my screen. I will see e-learning. I will click on it, and it brings me to this page. On this page, I can see all the lessons that have been created across different subjects for my class. So here you can see Bible knowledge is the subject of this lesson. We have the Promised Land. Here we have the total number of lessons it has, and of course how many out of the lessons for this lesson topic that I've taken. So out of 3 lessons, I've taken 2. My progress is 67%. The date the lesson was issued, and then we have a button here for me to view the lesson. Now, you may ask, going back to the teacher dashboard, the teacher is able to see 3 lessons, 3 lesson topics, but the student is only seeing 1, the Promised Land. But the teacher can see the Promised Land, the prophets of God, and Acts of the Apostles. It's because the student, only the Promised Land has lessons created for them, and it's online. So Promised Land has lessons in it, and then it's online. So what we are going to do now is, as a student, we are going to view these lessons, the lessons created under the Promised Land. So on this page, you can see the lessons under the Promised Land. We have God sends manna from heaven, the children of Israel sin against God, and the fall of Jericho. Here it tells me that I've taken the last two, but I'm yet to take the first one, which was, if you remember, was the one I created most recently. God sends manna from heaven. So you see this big button here where it says continue lesson. It's because I've actually started taking these lessons. So that is why it says continue lesson. So I'm going to let me continue the lesson. It brings me to this page. So God sends manna from heaven. So as a student, this is what I'll be saying. The title of the lesson, the main content, notes about the lesson. If there are any objectives, I will click on this and then it will reveal the objectives, learning objectives per se. Then again, I can navigate from one lesson to the other. So you can see this is the second lesson under the Promised Land topic. So this one is of type video. So I'm just going to go ahead and play this video. I'm going to pause it. Additional notes, follow this link, follow the link below to find out more information. So I can click on it to find out what the teacher has said. I will find out. Do the quiz attached to this lesson before 10 a.m. today. Okay. Ask your questions and I will respond to them. Yes, I will get to that. So I'll click on the next button to take me to the next one. This lesson is of PDF type. So you can see a PDF document that was uploaded against the lesson. So after reading the PDF, I will want to go to the next lesson, but it tells me, oh, I'm unable to do that because here it says this is the end of the lesson. So I can go back to see the previous lesson, which is the video that we saw, and of course I can go back to see the very first lesson, which is the text-based lesson. So here it says start of lesson, so I know yes, it's the first lesson, which means I can't click on this button. Alright, some things to note as a student. At the top of a particular lesson, you can see this button which I've shown you is objectives. You can you see this button which is ask question, and of course you have this which is view quiz. Now to ask a question, I'm just going to go ahead and ask a question to the teacher on this particular lesson. So I'll click on this. What's the title of the question? Okay, I will say how did it happen off the top of my head. Why would it be so hard to achieve? I don't know what I'm asking here, but I'm just going to ask something that has a question mark at the end of it. So lower down you see this checkbox that says show to my classmates. For instance, you may want to ask your class teacher a very private question. In that case, you will need to uncheck this box as a student. But if you want the question to be visible to your classmates, you check the box, you show to your classmates. So you can save and add another question or save and view. So I'm just going to go and save and view. So it brings me to this page. So this is the question I asked: how did it happen? Why would it be so hard to achieve? Now there is no answer for this question here. So that is why you can't see anything. When there is an answer, you will see the answer here. So as a class teacher, I'm going to go back to the class teacher dashboard. I asked this question against which I asked the question against one of the lessons. So I'm just going to go as a class teacher and locate the question that has that the lesson that has that question. So I know it's this because here it says question is 3. So I'm going to fill the lesson. This is the lesson, and at the top here I'll see this button that says questions, and then I'll see the questions that have been asked by a student in this class. So this is the question that was asked by Amale Jessica, the student. How did it happen? Okay, we'll find out soon. Now here it says answered, so the question has not been answered. Whether the question is public or not, yes, the student was generous enough to make it available and make it visible to their classmates. So I will open it, and lower down here you will see a button that says answer. So after reading the question, why would it be so hard? Yes, it was. Yes, it was very hard because we're just going to end it at this for now. So click on submit, and the answer is updated. So see the answer here. Yes, it was very hard because I can edit the answer, or I can say no, I don't want to edit it, let it be like this. So I'm going to go back to the student dashboard and see whether my question has been answered. So when I refresh this page, I will see the answer that was given by my class teacher. Yes, it was very hard. So that's it on questions. So let's look at another feature, which is quiz. It's about to get very interesting. So want to see quiz that how to create quiz against a lesson. So I'm going to go back to the lesson. Going to list the lessons. So I want to create some quiz items. Oh, the children of God sin against God already has 3 quiz items. So I'm just going to go ahead and add another quiz item to this. So to do that, I will open this to view, and at the top here I will see a button that says quiz, and here it shows the list of quiz items that have been added to this lesson. Now the quiz items are of different types. You see this one is of objective, single answer, free response, objective. I will explain this when we get to the art page. Then we see the mark that each of the quiz items have. So to add a new quiz item, I will type in my question. Who sinned against God? I will say the order is I'll just leave it like this for now. I can reorder the quiz items later. What's the mark? I'll say this will have 6 marks, and I come here where it says type. Objective single answer, you will choose this if you want the options to only have one correct answer. You will choose objective multiple answers if you want the options to have more than one correct answer. And finally, you will choose full response, short answer. If you wanted the answer, if it's a very direct question that has a very short answer, that is unambiguous. By unambiguous, I mean there's likely not to be 2 different versions of the answer. So I'm just going to create a quiz item that has one correct answer. So here it will ask me to specify the options. Who sinned against God is the question. I will say Nigeria is the first option. I will add another one, Africa. I'll add another one. Children of Israel. I'll add another option. You can add as many options as you want. I will say America. Add another one. No, I don't want to add another one, so I can go ahead and remove this one. So I'll say this is okay. I want to save this, and okay, let's see what will happen. Say, oh no, answer not selected. So that means we need to select one of these as the answer. So, well, we all know it's the children of Israel, so just going ahead to select that one, and we save. So we can click save and add a new one, or we can say save and view. Let's say it's save and add another. So it clears it. I want to add another one, but because of time we will not be able to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on this list. So we see the new question that we just asked. What sin did the children of... Okay, that's not the one we asked. Who sinned against God is one we asked. So at the moment, you can see that our order is messed up. So to do that, like I showed you before, you click on reorder. I want who sinned against God to come first. And then I want this one that is currently showing 3 to come second. I can bring this guy down, say update. Update the order. So the order is fixed now. So we can now go ahead to view this quiz in test mode. Test mode is actually how, let me go back and show you that again. Test mode is actually how the student is going to see the quiz when they are taking it. So if you wanted to visualize that, you will click on this button that says test mode. So it brings you to this page. You can see how our quiz is laid out. You see the number 1, who sinned against God, and we know that the correct answer which we selected is C, the children of Israel. The second one, what animal did blah 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 blah. See the options and then see the answer. Now this particular one has this particular one is of free response short answer, so that is why you can see this field, and the answer that we specified for it was Moses. You can see it here. You can't change it from here. If you want to change responses to your quiz items or the question itself, you can always do that by going back to list and clicking on edit for any of your quiz items, as you can see here. So I'm going to go back to where we were. So see the quiz items, the questions, the options, the marks attached to each of the questions, and yeah, this is basically how it's going to appear to the student. Alright, so we've created quiz items. How do our students access these quiz items? So I'm going back to students portal, and we are still on questions, so I'm going to go back to list of questions so that I can go back to lesson, and here it says view quiz. Okay, because it has quiz items. Oh no, this student has recently taken this quiz, the quiz attached to this lesson. So what I'm going to do is perhaps the student took the quiz and you feel that the student should retake the quiz. So what you can do as a class teacher is to go to submissions. You can see it. I'm just going to delete this quiz item so that student can retake it. So when I refresh this page as a student, yeah, I have a fresh answer booklet. So I can start taking the quiz. At the top here, I can see the total number of questions is 4, total mark is 16. The first question says, who sinned against God? Since I don't know anything, I'm going to choose America. What animal did God, blah blah blah. Just go ahead and choose snake. Who made a bronze statue of a serpent? I'll choose, let's say it's Moses. What sin did the children of Israel commit against God? They refused to come outside, they refused to do all these ones. I'll just click this one, they refuse to pay tithe in church. And then I'll click submit. It asks me, if you submit now, you will not be able to change your response. Do you want to continue? I'll say yes, I want to continue. It tells me that my quiz has been submitted. It reloads the page, and then I get immediate feedback, which is something that is very interesting for students. So immediately it grades, it marks my quiz, grades me, and tells me number of questions I got correctly. Here it says it's 2, and which is 2 out of 4, and then it tells me the mark I obtained, which is 8 out of a total of 16. So here you see the student response for each of the questions. So for the first question, the student failed it. That's why you see this X red icon here, and it's telling us that the correct option is C, children of Israel. This for the second question, the student got it. Of course, so there's no need for correction. The answer is snake. For the third question, yes, the answer is correct. It's Moses. And for the last question, the student failed it, so this S icon comes again. The correct option is option B, they worshipped other gods. So you can see that the student will not be able to modify his or her response because the quiz has been submitted. Like I said before, if you wanted the student to be able to retake this quiz, all you have to do is go back to quiz submissions, and of course delete this quiz item submitted by the student. So this is the place where you see the list of students in your class that have attended to the quiz, have submitted it. They will appear here. You will see the total number of questions they got correctly, and of course the mark they obtained. Now, as a teacher, I want to see this student's quiz submission. So I will click on that, and it brings me to this page. So I can see that I can see for each of the questions what option the student chose, and whether the student got it correctly or not. For this one, I can see what the student's response was. I can see here that it's correct, and at the top here I can see the student got 2 questions correctly out of a total of 8 questions. So that is it. I will want to go back to the lesson. So this is the lesson itself. I'll go back to list. I'll go back to the topic. Here I have my 3 topics. So I guess we've covered as much as we can on this module, so I'll be signing off here. Stay safe.